Wow, that looks like shit. Today I am doing another story time. It's not gonna be a get ready with me story time. It's gonna be a little bit more personal. Wow, this lighting is so bad. But I'm not a professional YouTuber, so. My original video idea for this week was going to be me getting ready every single day. But I think I'm just gonna post that next week. Just because, yeah. Okay, there you go. It's 5 times better. This story time is about a love interest. Not really a love interest, but someone that I've had history with for a really long time. And it's barely even the beginning of my senior year, and I'm already having drama, and I really want this year to I really just want this year to be smooth and like bueno, you know? This guy, we're gonna call him S. He and I became friends my freshman year, and I thought he was really cute. I've always thought he's super cute. So my freshman year, he and I and 2 other girls and 1 other guy were like, first semester we were, you know, like a good group of friends. We were like, oh my god. Fast forward to the end of semester 1, we had our winter concert, which is like this whole play type of thing that my school does. It involves all the choirs, non-audition and audition choirs, and one of the audition orchestra band thingy. We have like a royal court, and there's like dinner and lunch involved. It's this whole thing that lasts for 2 days, and it's 3 shows, and it's I'm pretty sure this was the last show, and it was at night. So when we weren't performing, we had to, because we were performing in our commons area, which is like the cafeteria, and it has a really pretty like whole window thing going on at the back of the cafeteria, and so like it's aesthetically pleasing. While we weren't performing, we had to wait in the auditorium. So he and I were waiting in the auditorium together, and we were just like talking, and we kept getting closer to one another, and then at one point we like were just staring at each other's eyes. Very dramatic. Right as we were about to kiss, they called my choir's name, and we had to go and perform. Yeah. The whole time I was like, dang, I should have kissed him. And I was talking to my friend, we'll call her Fan. Like, I was telling her how I really wanted to kiss him and just get it over with and all that jazz. And she was like, just kiss him, just kiss him. Oh my god, Mia, just kiss him. And I was like, Fan, I don't think you understand. Like, that just rhymed. And yeah, I don't think you understand as to like how bad this could go. And she was like, it could go great though, like blah blah blah. One day she was like, just kiss him, and he was standing with all his friends, and we were out in the courtyard during lunch, and he was like on the other side of the courtyard. So I was like, hey S, can I talk to you? And he was like, sure. So I walk over, and I was like, and I literally just like pulled his shirt towards me and then grabbed his face and kissed him. And I was like, and then my next class after that, one of his friends was part of my class, and he saw that, and I was like shaking because of how like I was literally just like, and it was just, yeah. And I was like, oh my god, I kissed him. And his friend was like, yeah, I was there. And I was like, oh. And then after that, I texted him. Like, we hadn't talked in a while, and I was like, oh, sorry that I kissed you, blah blah blah. And he said that like he wasn't looking for anything. Also, before I texted him, Fan had told me that he said he didn't feel any sparks. Anyway, he said he didn't feel any like sparks fly, and so I texted him and I was like, hey, sorry I kissed you. I just like, we almost kissed during our winter concert, and I really just like wanted to know what it was like. I said something wrong with those lines. And he texted me back, and he was like, yeah, I'm just not really looking for a relationship right now, and blah blah blah. And I was like, okay. And I literally just sent him K, because back then I didn't really realize as to how like K was seen as something petty. So I was just like, K. And he took that as if I was being like, K. And then he was like, oh, I'm sorry, like blah 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 blah. And he got really mad at me. And I was like, I didn't mean that in a mean way. I just said K. And he was like, well, don't hit me with that K bullshit. Like, I remember that vividly in the text. And then I cried that night. So that was freshman year. We didn't talk to each other for like 3 or 4 months. Pretty sure he got on the varsity football team. And that summer, he got ripped. Like, ripped. And he would always send me pictures of him right after he got out of the shower, and he would be like in his towel still, and the mirror was all steamy, and he was steaming. It was quite something. So during the entire summer, he sent me photos like that. Then my sophomore year, pretty sure he got into a relationship. But that was when I was a cheerleader, and once on the field, he went like this to me, and I looked down and smiled. But I'm pretty sure he meant it for his girlfriend that was in the bleachers. We just ended up making eye contact, which made it very awkward. We would talk here and there during our sophomore year, but not too much. Then junior year, he and I mainly just saw each other in the hallways, because first semester of junior year, for like about 6 months, I was in a serious relationship. Didn't end very well. And then second semester of junior year, I had a couple things here and there. And then the last summer happened. That's where things get interesting. So he and I started talking, like flirtatiously talking, at the beginning of summer. A friend of mine was having like a dance recital thingy, and I just went ahead and invited him, and I was like, hey, would you like to go to this dance recital with me for my friend? And he said, yeah, sure, why not? So I bought his tickets. Was not technically a date, but definitely seemed like a date, but we didn't say it was a date, or didn't, whatever. Anyway, we go to the dance recital. The whole time we were holding hands, and I massaged his head at one point, and he leaned over and he was like, oh my god, you just found my weakness. And I was like, and he had his hand on my lap. We kissed that night, and we kept like just doing cute little kisses throughout the show. At the end of the show, we weren't really holding hands, just because we were like in front of people, and pretty sure, like, I was uncomfortable with holding hands with him because, yeah, I don't know, I was just, yeah. And I'm pretty sure he just was awkward about it too. Later that night, we made out in his car before I went back home, and I was like, it was good. I'm not gonna lie that it was bad or anything. It was pretty bueno. And then he dropped me off home, and we kissed each other goodnight. And we didn't talk for a while, and then I sent him a text, and I was like, hey, sorry for going, like, so, like, honestly, a first date, in my opinion, it wasn't technically a date, but still, if you guys are hanging out and you like one another, you should not go, like, super far into aggressive making out and all that jazz, because we went very far. I think, like, a little peck here and there, and, like, you know, cute, innocent making out, bueno, I think that's perfectly fine. So he didn't talk to me for like a week or so. Also, at the beginning of the summer, I was just doing so many things, and so I sent him a text. It was a pretty lengthy text, and I was like, hey, I'm sorry for like the making out session going so far, and I think it was both of our faults. And then he apologized and took the blame for it, although I still think it was both of our faults for going so far. He took the blame for it, and he was like, you're such an amazing girl. Oh, and at the end of the text, I said, if you want to see where this goes, cool. If you just want to stay friends, cool. Don't care. He was like, you're such an amazing girl, and you deserve someone who will treat you like with the utmost respect. And I was like, oh, thanks, yeah. Then after that, we didn't really talk that much, but I had just recorded the audio of this new song that I was just sending to people. So like, I sent it to my really close friends, and I was like, I need you to criticize this for me, like tell me what I should work on. And then I sent him to guy friends, and he said he liked it. And I also sent it to S, and like I asked him, I was like, hey, can I send you an audio of a song? And he was like, yeah, I'm playing Fortnite though right now, so I'll listen to it later. And I was like, oh my god, no, get that W, wait to listen to my song. So he didn't respond for like a week and a half or 2 weeks, something like that. Then he listened to the song, and he was like, oh my god, it's amazing. Then that started us talking again. We were flirting a lot. We would text at night like all the time, just because I was either hanging out with Caitlin and Greta every single day, or I was working all day long, or I was doing homework. So, like, yeah. He still doesn't really have his own car, so he had to borrow his parents' car. So we would mainly just talk at night, and then a couple times he texted me and he was like, hey, I'm at a friend's house that's near your house right now. Is it okay if I stop by for a little bit? Obviously, I just told my parents that I was, like, gonna step outside to have phone calls with Caitlin, which I did. Like, Caitlin and I had multiple phone calls at night during the summer anyway, so wasn't anything new. He would be like, hey, I'm near, I can stop by for a little bit if you'd like me to. And then one night I told my parents that I was hanging out with a close guy friend of mine, but it was really S who came by and picked me up, and we hung out for about like an hour and a half, and we talked, made out, obviously. One day he came by my house for about like 3 hours-ish, and we hung out and made out. Okay. I started getting this feeling that something bad was about to happen, specifically between S and I. And this always happens to me. Like, in a relationship, I can always feel, not predict, but like feel if something good or bad is gonna happen. So I had a feeling that, like, we were either gonna, like, part, or, you know, I just had I got a vibe where I was like, something's about to happen and it's not gonna be bueno. What we have going on right now is not really gonna last. I had a feeling it was gonna happen sooner rather than later, and it did. It happened within like the next few weeks. Anytime we did talk, it was really awkward and it seemed really like forced, whereas in the past it wasn't forced. I sent him another long text because I'm a really confrontational person. I don't like being left in the dark. Like, I hate that. So if you leave me in the dark, I am going to come up to you at some point or another. It may not be right away, but I am going to come up to you. Because I normally wait for the person to come up to me, because I expect people to be more mature than they really are. Well, I texted him again. I forgot what it was, but I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, so we stopped talking for like a few days, and it was really sudden. Like, we wouldn't talk hourly, but every night-ish we would have conversations until like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And we just stopped talking for like 2 or 3 days. Normally that doesn't bother me because I will have phases with my friends, and even in past relationships where, like, we won't talk. And it's not like we don't want to talk to one another, it's just we're busy and have lives. This was different. Like, it just felt different. So then I sent him a text and I was like, hey, if this is going too far for you, just let me know, because I'm not dependent on you. And he was like, yeah, no, everything's fine, no worries. And so that one night when Greta and Caitlin and I'm pretty sure there's the first video on this channel where we went and pulled an all-nighter, I had texted him, and we were texting about a bunch of different stuff, and then I was like, dude, what's going on? Like, did I do something or something like that? And he was like, yeah, I'm just not looking for a relationship right now. And I was like, okay, it doesn't have to be a relationship, but you also don't need to be, like, so distant. I wasn't necessarily looking for a relationship either, just because my last relationship really affected me, but, like, it just, and then apparently his phone died. So we didn't text for like 2 weeks, I think. And then I sent him another long text. Wow, do I sound desperate? And I was like, did I do something? Like, why are you ghosting me? Like, if it's something that I said, then tell me. He didn't reply, and then he messaged me on Snapchat, and he was like, hey, I read your text, my phone broke, and it's really fidgety, and I can't, and, like, the texting app is all weird, and I can't really text anyone or anything like that. And so then we kept sporadically talking through Snapchat. And then I invited him to go to the county fair with me and a couple of my friends, and then after that to a kickback. And he said, yeah, I would love to go. And then the night before, he went to a party. Some things happened, and the next day, like, he stayed up until 6:30 o'clock in the morning. So the next day when he woke up, he felt absolutely awful, which is the same for me. Anytime I pull all-nighters, I get physically sick, so I understood that. So obviously, like I was a little pissed off because I told him, like, we made plans 4 days in advance, and then he went off and did something stupid, which he ended up having to cancel on me, which, like, I understood. I was like, obviously I don't want you coming if you're not gonna be in a good mood and if you're gonna feel sick, because that's just not fun. But he was like, oh, I don't like it when you're mad at me and blah blah blah, and I was like, it's fine, it's whatever. The night after, I'm pretty sure, we had another really long conversation, and we were talking, and he kept telling me how, like, high school didn't go the way he thought it would have gone, and he kept saying how, like, he always imagined himself being with a girl, and, like, being the power couple of the school. After that, school started, and on the first day of school, he, like, hugged me and was like, oh my god, hey, and I was like, hi. And we still haven't talked. And the conversations that we had, you know, both he and I were like, he mentioned freshman year when I kissed him at one point, and he was like, that was super cute and adorable, and I was like, no, that was, you and I remember that very differently. And then we talked about how, like, he sent me those shirtless pictures of him. You know, he told me how, like, he's had a crush on me since freshman year, and I was like, oh my god, same. And I got him to open up to me a little bit about, like, things that were going on in his family. Kept telling me that he had feelings for me, at the same time that was very cryptic. He just made it seem as if, like, he acted as if, so anytime we hung out with one another, like, the first couple times, it was, like, as if we were hooking up, but then after that, it was, like, we were not a couple necessarily, but, like, at the beginning of a relationship. And I got feelings for him, but at the same time, like, I don't know if what he said is true, that he's had a crush on me since freshman year. If he has, I have a lot of questions. I'm sorry, I'm still pissed off at him, and he's honestly really hurt my feelings. So a part of me thinks that he's doing it for attention, but then another part of me is like, bro, he freaking played you. And then another part of me is like, he's doing both. He's doing it to get your attention, to make you jealous, but he's also playing you at the same time. And the reason as to why I haven't confronted him is because this entire time I've been the one to, like, start up a real conversation. A couple of times he would text me and be like, hey, like, what are you doing right now? And it would be, like, close to midnight. But all the other times I started a conversation, like, true conversations, and then near the end of the summer, I was the one who was initiating conversations. I was the one who would be like, hey, like, haven't talked in a couple days. And I'm tired of that. It's exhausting. Yeah. And honestly, this has really affected me because I've had feelings for this guy for 3 years. And then we started up something. Like, I've put myself out. Like I was like, if you want to be in a relationship, cool. If you don't have feelings for me, tell me and we will just stay friends. But he kept leading me on. In a way, I feel like our friendship has been ruined, which really just pisses me off. And I'm definitely going to take the blame for part of it, but honestly, I'm going to lay it mostly on him. I really don't want to blame anything on him because he's such a sweet person. I still have feelings for him, and it's really annoying, and it's made me feel so insecure about myself. He's also just made me feel like a piece of shit. Like, the beginning of this whole thing was fun and exciting, but, like, I feel like I should also blame myself for this, because, like, it seemed as if he was catching feelings for me. So yeah, so I feel like it's my fault, but I also feel like it's his fault. I don't know, but I'm just making this a PSA to anyone who feels like this or who has been played by someone. You deserve someone way better. Like he told me, you deserve someone who will give you the utmost respect. And you deserve someone who will see how amazing you are. You deserve someone who will give you what you want. And you deserve someone who won't play with your emotions. But hey, thank you so much for making me feel like a piece of shit. So yeah. And also, if I'm petty towards you, don't be mad. Hey, that was my video for the week. Should I play him back?